Omukamangabo niyongabe tamirembo munsi yayo twegonze tumuzinire Omunyoro waitu niyongabe tamirembo munsi yaye ekitinisa kye kihinguraine muno habwokubantale Omukamangabo niyongabe tamirembo munsi yaye ekitinisa kye kihinguraine muno habwokubantale Omukamangabo niyongabe tamirembo munsi yaye ekitinisa kye kihinguraine muno habwokubantale Omukamangabo niyongabe tamirembo munsi yaye ekitinisa kye kihinguraine muno habwokubantale.
Hello, this is Eirakali Bunyoro, akazina mukahulirako ni karuga haba Destiny School. Mwebale muno kutuninga in tusemere muno inywe na kubarora no kubahuliza kanihire week egenzere kurungi nkabulikiro. This is Eirakali Bunyoro Diaspora, brought to you by sponsored by Bunyoro Kitara Development Association, and nkabulikiro it is Caroline Ajuna Kibuka Ateenyi, your host of the show. Nanyenda, with that little introduction, sorry about the echoes, but yeah, it's gone now. Just a quick reminder that the show will be presented in two languages, that is English and Bunyoro. The Bunyoro, the language that is spoken by the people who come from Bunyoro, and Bunyoro is found in the western part of Uganda. And with that little reminder, please allow me to remind you of our topic today, and it is governance of Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom since 1995. And today is going to be an introduction part of this topic, and we will hope to be coming back with more series about governance in the Kingdom of Bunyoro Kitara. With that, I just want to tell you that we were very much privileged to have been able to host or invite a very important person in the Kingdom of Bunyoro to come and do this introduction part of this topic. And he is not any other person but Omuhikirwa wa Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom. Ninyenda hati kusaba engineer waitu asobole kutuletera Omuhikirwa waitu her line. Then after that we will be playing the anthem of Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom, and we're only going to do one stanza, and then Omuhikirwa waitu ajja kuba na yebazaho obugambo buke, so that our viewers and the audience kabulikiro butubeto bundi get to know Omuhikirwa wabu, and then we'll start straight off with our discussion of governance in Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom. And as I've told you, this is an introduction part. Please do not expect Omuhikirwa waitu kuba nagenda kubagambira everything about governance in Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom in just 1 or 2 hours. There we are going to play the first anthem, the Bunyoro Kitara anthem, and we will then start our show. Mutyo muno abanyoro n'abanyoro kati n'aba friends of Bunyoro, thank you once again for tuning in.
Tukukosani naitwe
kitinisa. Bunyoro kitara tukutanzanyi naitwe itwabana beihanga abakutamwe kitinisa. Thank you so much, Abanyoro Nabanyoro Kati and friends of Bunyoro, for joining us in the anthem of Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom. Hati nkotumalirize ninyenda kusaba Omuhikirwa waitu aija kubaho obugambo buke obwakutugambira about himself. Waitu owekitinisa Omuhikirwa waitu webale muno kwikiriza ntukutangira itwe ababunyoro Kitara abo mu diaspora hano mu UK webale muno kututeekamu ekitinisa kuikiriza kuija kuba hamna itwe hasho yaitu hano. We are very privileged. I personally am very privileged to be hosting you today, and it is an honor to speak to you today. And I would not have done it if it hasn't been because of the voice of Bunyoro in the diaspora. Nahawekyo owekitinisa Omuhikirwa waitu webale muno kuikiriza kuba hamna itwe kiro kino wayerekerezo bwire bwabona wajja kubazaho ebigambo bike n'abantu baitu n'aba audience baitu bakusemererwe muno, and I'm sure they are all excited to hear from you. With that, please Omuhikirwa waitu nkusabaho obeho bugambo buke bw'okubazahala abantu baitu basobole kumanya bamanye Omuhikirwa waabo ni woha arugankaha woruganda ki and ebindi byone byoraba nkubora bosaziro kwebazaho nugambira abantu otyo muno Omuhikirwa baza abantu bawo
Kirungi Ateenyi mutekaniza program enu hamu abatekaniza bona ba Voice of Bunyoro in the diaspora abagonzebwa abatulirize bebagerunu hamu n'emyenda ya kitara nywena hari mukali nywena angoza kutwara omugisa guno batangira program enu. Mabara gange ninyo Andrew Kirungi Byakutaga Ateenyi Omuhikirwa kama wa Bunyoro Kitara kandi ni musaija muchwezi nzaro abasita ni banzara mparo hagasa nyawo kionkanyo hati amaka gange gali kaibalia omu Bujumbura division omu Hoima City nkazarwa mparo nizarwa omugenzi Munyoro Sira Byakutaga no mukyala eseri bagada Byakutaga ati abagenzi ni musajja mufumbo mukyala wange bamweta Rose Bisereko Byakutaga tulina abana tulina no mujukuru womu ebiro byokwezi 18 January mwaka 2018 kabumba mukama wa Bunyoro Dr. Solomon Gafabu Saiguru okubanza akasima ya mfora katikiro ya mbujunazo buno okuba katikiro rundo Omuhikirwa kigambo katikiro no Omuhikirwa byona tujja kuba tubikozesa rundi Bunyoro Kitara na bwekyo kutwara omugisa guno kubatangire nywena program enu itukujja kuba tubaza ebyo bobembezi bokukaba wa Bunyoro Kitara kandi kunya baze ntandika omulimo guno runo rugendo it's a journey which can take us to hills, mountains, but we hope really to achieve the best with the support of everyone. Once again, thank you very much for hosting me, and I welcome all of you to this program this evening.
Oh, thank you so much, Omuhikirwa waitu, with that a very good self-introduction, and I'm sure now all our viewers know who you are, and those who have not been knowing who you are, they know you now. Webale muno waitu Ateenyi kutugambiraho ebikufaho. hati Abanyoro n'Abanyoro kati na Friends of Bunyoro Omuhikirwa waitu ni wonu. And now we are going to start asking a few questions or a discussion tusobole kumanyaho the governance of Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom since 1995. Nka bwabagambire ekiro kibamufoire Omuhikirwa akibagambire already, and it's now about 3 years since he's been in office. Hati waitu Omuhikirwa mbaye ninkusaba hukake osobole kutugambiraho. Give us a rundown of Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom and its structures.
Webale mbuno mutekaniza wa program wenu ngokumanyire obukama bwa Bunyoro Kitara umwaka gwenkaga na musanju obukama mu 1997 obukama bukayimba media nyuma bwagarwaho umwaka gwa 1994 obukama obwabaireho umwaka gwa kaga na musanju nogaruka inyuma bukabunyaho kana n'ubutwinaho hati abukuba government y'obukama obu ikabaino obusobozi wekora ebintu bingi kandi obagarurira akasumikano obusobozi bwabo bwakendezebwa kandi omukendezebwa oku hariho ebintu bingi bikaba nibikorwa akasumyako hati kutakoba nikyo jja kurulera nenyirukanze obukama rundi governance structure ikahinduka abukuba ekikuru muno rundi the main mandate of our kingdom today is to promote and preserve our culture. That's the main mandate. But of course, you cannot do this without doing other supportive roles and other advocacy roles in order to ensure that the subjects of the king are really are able to carry out their roles of culture. Hati obukama bwino mukama nuwe aba mwebembezi luno omukuru obukama buno is the leader of the kingdom. That's his highness Lukirabasaija Dr. Solomon Gafabu Saiguru the first, who is the king of Bunyoro Kitara. Under the king he has an office, the Mukama's office, which has the queen umugo nuwe queen, the queen of the king. In 2017, His Royal Highness decided to carry out reforms in the kingdom and how the kingdom is run. So he appointed a royal commission rundi akakurata ku nanu kumuhereza amagezi umulingo gwa kusobora kuba na kwanza mwembiri mendo kuleta aho impinda hinduka mu bembezi bw'okama kandi akakurata akutiguli bali mu rwo kubanza abo kuba no myaka yenyuma ku kabalega mukama kabalega wakana arwana obule munarwanisa abaganda obule munugenda kutandika nawe kakabana akakurata akobunanu kumuhereza amagezi nabo ekyo omukama obusimu butali bumunda bumu atunga abahiba amagezi umuha amagezi omulingo gukwirukanza mw'emirimo nabo ekyo akakoma royal commission kumuhaga amagezi nabo ekyo royal commission ayiri hansi y'ofisi y'omukama mu ofisi y'omukama harimu okwiri we aba mukuru w'Uruganda rw'Ababito rundi mukuru w'Uruganda rw'Ababito kandi najunanzibwa byone bikwata harababito mu office y'omukama harimu batebe official sister of the king and she's in charge of matters to do with the the princesses. Harimu no mukuru w'Ebikwato, somebody in charge of the royal regalia, and also somebody in charge of cultural norms rundi omukuru w'Emirwa. Emirwa are the cultural norms which are carried out in the kingdom and mainly in the palace now. There's also Omugema, who is the head of the royal tombs. Abo nibo bali hansi y'ofisi y'omukama. Hanyuma hariho cabinet. The cabinet is made up of the ministers Runda Bagatwa, and it's headed by the prime minister, myself. Wow. And then my roles, I'm the head of cabinet to ensure that there is a consistent application of Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom policy. I chair all the cabinet meetings, and also I'm the chief spokesperson of Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom. I supervise, as I've already mentioned, supervise the implementation of Bunyoro Kingdom strategic plan, short and the long term. And also I'm in charge of ensuring the external relations between the kingdom and other kingdoms and other institutions. Hasi ya cabinet eno etwina hati inabagatorunda aba minister 13 itwena hamu tuli 14.
Yes.
Aroho first deputy prime minister ali kandi ali in charge of culture. Second deputy prime minister ali also in charge of tourism. The third deputy prime minister is in charge of restitution and reparations. We have an attorney general, somebody who's in charge of ensuring that ebiragiro bitero mukora kandi bikondeirwe. Ego. Twina Minister of Finance and Planning. Twina Minister for Social Affairs, that one is in charge of education and health. We have a Minister of Gender, Minister for Investment, Minister in charge of Diaspora, then Minister for Natural Resources. We have a Minister for Production, that's in charge of agriculture and animal husbandry. Then there's a Minister for Special Duties. Special duties, really, we put up that portfolio in case of there could be other emerging issues and which would need a minister to look at, and therefore we have to have that portfolio. And finally, there is a minister in charge of palace affairs who also doubles as the principal private secretary to Omukama.
Yes.
That is the cabinet. Twino Rukurato rule the parliament, or Rukurato rekulemberwa speaker who we call Mtalindwa. Rukurato rule representatives from all the sub-counties of the kingdom. There are 102 representatives. It also has representatives who are from the 8 districts, actually the 7, because the 8th district we haven't now added the representatives from the 8th district, which was formed recently from Chikube. But previously, the 7 districts had representatives two representatives who live in Kampala. So those are also included in the Rukurato as representatives. After that, we have the Secretariat, which is headed by a Chief Administrative Secretary. The Secretariat is in charge of running the administrative matters of the kingdom on a day-to-day basis. It has a Chief Administrative Secretary and supposed to have departments, and each of these departments will be directly under the ministries, with technical people as managers and also paid for by the kingdom. So they will not be volunteers like the cabinet ministers. And also in the administration structure, we have Abamasaza Bunyoro Mukama, twin Abamasaza or Saza chiefs who are 15 in number, covering the different Masaza in the kingdom.
In the kingdom, yes.
Then below that we have Abamabohora or Gombora chiefs or sub-county chiefs. Then we have Abemiruka and Abatongoli. We also have a land board which is mandated to carry out issues to do with the land. So generally, that is how the structure, the kingdom is structured.
Wow, hati Omuhikirwa otugambire structure, it's a long one. I would not, I'm sure our viewers baitu babaini followinga kurungi no bibaza from the first office to the last office. Baitu hati Omuhikirwa waitu, how are people put in these offices? That is what people will also want to know. Do we just go and someone appoints you appoint yourself, or does someone do it on behalf of the kingdom?
Abantu abali obufisi omukama, those are really appointed by the king. They are appointed by the king himself, including also our kurasi, and these ones are appointed on by the king on their advice of either the Royal Commission or any other advisors the king can choose. The king can choose to get advice from anyone he deems fit. He can invite clan leaders, he can invite religious leaders or any other person in the kingdom to advise him on anything. So when he wants to make these appointments, he gets people to advise him, and including Abakras. So he will ask people maybe in that area to advise him on people who are really suitable to take on these roles. However, the secretariat, which is made up of technical people, as I've already mentioned, these are people who are appointed, and the positions are advertised in the press and social media, and then interviews are conducted and people are appointed. So this role of setting up the administrative secretariat has been under my office. So these people are not just handpicked, they are appointed professionally.
Amazing. Hati otugambire all the structure ogitusobolereire kanihira abantu bona getegereize. You have told us that some of the all is only one structure that is not appointed by the king, and that is the administration structure, administrative structure, and people do apply. Na habwekyo abantu bona bakwenda kolera kingdom kandi babasasura mutyo mwehulirire abakutuhura today. You can apply, they advertise, and this role is roles elected just like you go for a job interview. Hati Omuhikirwa waitu, what has been your achievement in the last years you've been Omuhikirwa wa Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom?
Okay, thank you very much, Ateenyi. Omwaka gwa 2017, in 2017, Rukirabasaija decided to implement reforms in Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom with a view of setting up a transformation, and also to align the kingdom with the other development programs in the country and worldwide. So I was tasked to spearhead the reforms, and he undertook this together. That's when he appointed the Royal Commission to advise him on how to undertake these reforms. Kurora habwempidwa hinduka zibaire nizibaho Bunyoro kila muno oil and gas, or we are aware of these developments. There are a lot of things which happened, that there was an influx of people coming into the kingdom looking for jobs, other people coming to set up businesses, looking for investment opportunities, and actually the people who are coming to carry out these exploration activities in the oil and gas. So there are lots of changes that are taking place. People were coming in, lots of people, and he realized, of course, this would have an impact on our culture, and also to ensure that the kingdom benefits from these developments. So there had to be reforms, there had to be a transformation in the way kingdom business was being carried out. So that's when in 2018 I was appointed and tasked to spearhead these reforms. And of course, started by looking for a team, setting up a team which I would have to work with, and that's the cabinet, which I successfully did. And to me, I think that was a big achievement, because setting up a cabinet it had to be representative, generally representative of the kingdom, because the kingdom has, as you've heard, 15 counties. It has now 8 districts. It has over 50 ethnic groupings. So it's really and it's a task. So the cabinet was set up. The other one was to set up Rukurato, which we successfully did, because this time around, the king decided that the Rukurato had to have representatives from each sub-county. And this was not an easy task to identify the representatives and advise him on those representatives from each of those sub-counties. The Rukurato was set up. It has a speaker, and as we speak, it has these sessional committees. Each of these ministries I've read to you has a corresponding sessional committee,
Wow.
in the parliament, which is responsible for collecting views from the public, either views, ideas, complaints, or anything, which then the committee sits down. If that is in line with that ministry, the committee sits down, synthesizes those views, and then presents them to the Orukurato to decide on the way forward.
Sorry,
And finally,
Omuhikirwa. Sorry,
yes.
Omuhikirwa, let me just ask you a quick question that I have remembered. Hati abantu bano bona abakora abekitiinisa abakora omu cabinet eyo headinga, are they paid or are they all on voluntary basis?
No, the cabinet on voluntary basis, and but when they carry out activities which require them to travel or which require them to sit out for long hours, then they're given an allowance.
Amazing. So it is really hard to get a cabinet set up when people are going to be not to be paid. So I can understand why you say it was an achievement for you to get all these people under you and they are all free. They're not going to be paid. It's not easy at all. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. And so Orukurato, as I was saying, we've done most of this work for setting up the sessional committees in Orukurato. It has been done mainly this year, which is ending now, to set up the sessional committees. And as I said, when finally the views or ideas come up in the Orukurato, finally it's the king who signs off and decides to sign off for implementation. The third one was to set up an administrative secretariat. As I've told you, previously, the kingdom did not have an administrative secretariat. What used to happen, there would be a prime minister and ministers, and they would be the one to do all the work, running around as an issue somewhere, attending a function. Even ministers, and which really, of course, it would reduce on the effectiveness of
the ministers
of the ministers. So there had to be a secretariat, which of course we have set up now, and we're continuing to fill up the positions, to ensure that it's running, and that will create continuity, so that tomorrow, if I'm no longer and there's a new administration, the secretariat remains, and there's that continuity. Of course, an opportunity which we did not, we were not able to have. But so we have set up the secretariat. There is a chief administrative secretary now. We have a finance and administration manager. We have a lands officer. We have somebody in charge of communications in my office. And so we are filling up these positions. We are soon recruiting an IT officer and also an accounts assistant. So it's really taking shape. And I'm sure mid next year we'll have filled most of the positions.
Amazing.
And so I feel that's a very big achievement for us and for my team. So as we do this, then we set up systems.
Yes.
What happened is that when these reforms were being started in 2017, the king appointed a management task force made up, which was made up of Bunyoro, very distinguished Bunyoro, headed by Edgar Singoma, who is head of KPMG. KPMG is an audit firm. So this team was to set up systems which were to be used in running the administration of the kingdom. So it came up with the various documents. Actually, one of the documents was a Bunyoro development agenda for 30 years, you know. So this development agenda was developed with the help of views which were collected from various Bunyoro. And on the 14th of April 2018, there was a symposium which organized here in Hoima, and attended by a number of Bunyoro, up to over 200, who brought in their ideas, which were also incorporated into this agenda. After that, there was a governance policy and guidelines which was developed, which is like really the constitution of the kingdom. And of course, it's now in its final stages of being ratified. There was a financial and management guidelines which were also prepared, human resource and administration policy, a procurement manual, and also job descriptions for various positions in the kingdom. So all these were developed and handed over to us to ensure that we follow or we review them to ensure that they're being used to implement various activities we are undertaking. So the cabinet sat and reviewed this agenda with a view of coming up with a strategic plan, a 5-year strategic plan, and also to cascade the plan downwards to the various ministries to come up with the budgets, activities, and budgets. So I'm really proud to say that we did this work very well, and we came up with, we have a strategic plan, we have a map, which I had shared earlier, the technical people. I hope it will come up. And we also developed a vision for the kingdom, which is a great and prosperous Bunyoro Kitara kingdom, and then a mission to enthuse or to interest the people of Bunyoro Kitara kingdom to pursue holistic type of life. So we developed objectives which would help us to implement this strategic plan. And so I feel we have really come a long way, because there's no way we would implement these reforms without a plan.
So
on top of that,
Omuhikirwa,
yes?
sorry, just to interrupt you there. Is the strategic plan is it shared to all the Bunyoro people in case they want to know about it? Because this, I bet
yes,
this is a document for us. So how do we get this shared to us? Is it in our language so that for a Bunyoro in the village who doesn't understand English will be able to understand? I know it's a strategic plan. It has so many things. So yes, it would be nice for us to know whether it is a public document.
It's a public document, but however, we have not yet translated it into Bunyoro, but we share it, and time and again, we ensure that we explain to people what is in the strategic plan and what we intend to do, but we haven't really translated it into Bunyoro. It is still in English, but I think that's something we are going to look at, yes, and ensure that it is translated.
So is this discussed in the Orukurato? Because we want to know when, if you're able to tell us, when does the Orukurato sit, so that you talked about it sitting, having different sessions. So is this one of the things that they discuss? Yes.
This plan was completed last year in November, and was presented to the Orukurato because we cascaded it to the various ministries and came up with activities for each of the ministries, and therefore a budget for all these activities. So it was presented to the Orukurato, and the Orukurato passed it that was at the end of November last year. I think it was December last year. And so so that's what really happens, that cabinet comes up with a plan, presents it to the Orukurato, and then the Orukurato looks at it and discusses it and passes it if it feels that's fine. The Orukurato sits on a quarterly basis.
Okay, thank you.
That's every 3 months.
Yes.
But of course, due to COVID issues, we're not able to sit for the last, I think, 6 months. But there's a plan for it to sit before the end of this year.
So are people told when in these quarterly sittings, are people informed about it so that people know that the Orukurato is going to sit and they can come and be part of it?
Yeah, sure. Because what happens that according to our guidelines, we send out information 2 weeks in advance, calling for Orukurato and informing all the Abakurasi to come for a meeting. However, the Abakurasi are free at any one time to come and present their issues to either Mtalindwa or to myself, and which they have really been doing, and so that when we get these issues, we can pass them over to a sessional committee. And as I said, we've just completed setting up these sessional committees in September, so they are really now starting to understand what they're supposed to do as part of the reform process, and I'm sure within the coming year they'll really be up and running.
Amazing.
Yeah. So there are a little more achievements I'd like to highlight.
Yes.
Quickly. During this period, we have managed to organize 2 very successful Mpango celebrations. You see, Mpango is a celebration for our kingdom, where we celebrate our culture. We look at what we have done in the previous year, and also what we are going to do in the coming year to celebrate our achievements. So we organized very, very colorful and successful celebrations. That's in 2018 and 2019, and we have learned a lot of things. And this for 2019, we were not able to have Mpango celebrations as we normally do because of the COVID pandemic. The king advised that we concentrate on disseminating information about COVID-19. So we had a Thanksgiving service at St. Peter's Cathedral instead of the normal celebrations we carry out. So we've done this, and we've learned lots of things, and I think the next one, if we are depending on how the situation will be more colorful. We hope to have it streamed live on social media, on the internet, so that even people in the diaspora can participate or can see actually what's going on.
Actually,
the other one, yes.
Yeah, no, go ahead, Omuhikirwa. Sorry, I will ask something else after you've spoken.
Okay. The other one is that we've successfully managed to negotiate with government and convince His Excellency the President of Uganda to to support us in construction of a perimeter wall around the Karuzika.
Wow. And
that had taken really ages. And of course, the King's security was being compromised because of lack of a perimeter wall. As you know, the Karuzika occupies a very big space. So when we met with him in 2018, he agreed, and I'm very proud to say we have completed the construction of this perimeter wall, which had taken many years really without being completed.
Amazing.
Of course, the other one is also we have managed to renovate the administration block, which is going to house our offices. The administration secretariat is going to be housed there, and the members of cabinet will be able to have offices where they operate from, because for a very long time our cabinet ministers have not had offices where to operate from. They work from home. Some of them they move with documents in their vehicles, and of course that compromises the safety of our documents and our communication. So the office block is being completed, and very soon everybody will have an office where to sit. We have also we were able to successfully negotiate with government for financial support, which has been coming in starting from the financial year which ended, and this has been able to help us support some of the activities we had planned for in our plan for the financial year. We have had managed to come up with partnerships. For instance, we've just signed an agreement with MTN. MTN is going to be supporting, support Mpango activities and support education and health activities to the tune of 600 million for 2 years. And for me, that's another big achievement for us being able to secure such financing from from such a partnership. We have also we are in negotiations with the Uganda Bureau of Statistics to set up statistics unit, because what we realized when we were working on our strategic plan was that there was no available data for our kingdom. So in order for us to know where we are, where we want to go, and so we started a discussion with Uganda Bureau of Statistics, and they have unit which will really help us in collecting data and being able to help us implement our plan. So ebintu ebitero byokulula bintu bikuru muno omulingo twizire hali turugire hali tukugenda habokuba ebintu tusobola kukola ebintu byona omukasumi kataito kurugira naito okusoboza waito kutwina nabeke nyonyi nokusemerera kunyikuru nti tukozere ebintu ebyo kandi nkugumya nebindi bingi tujakwata.
Amazing. Webale muno Omuhikirwa waitu Ateenyi kutugambira hebye bintu achievements. I'm sure our Bunyoro and Abanyoro kati na ba friends babihulire kandi babyetegereize. Is actually you've done quite a lot within the compared to the years you've been in office. Ekimbaige nyenda kaguza how have you helped the Bunyoro during this pandemic of COVID-19? Iwe nk'Omuhikirwa Abanyoro mubayambire muta mukizibu kine kituli mitwene ensi yone kubonabona. So yeah, we want you to tell us what you've done for our people down there.
Mtekaza program enu ngoza kumanyisa nti obulwaire buno obwagwireho ukira abasajja akaturagira habukwabo kajjaho tutekaniza empango yaitu abiri na musanju.
Yego.
Ukira abasajja turagira nti empango etabaho amani gona kutuwali tukozesa kutekaniza empango tugateke omukulwanisa jakara kubwaire kandi yaturagira tusere sente tukonyere amarwaro gaitu kuba akasubi yako tukakitegereza nti amarwaro ukabagataine ebintu byokozesa ebintu nka PPE personal protection equipment amarwaro gataina gloves gataina thermometers infrared thermometers gataina masks nabo yaturagira tukonyera amarwirukira amarwaro twasere million nkaga twagura ebintu eby'okwirukira amarwaro gaitu gona omusona ezokama nabo ekyo ekiri twakikora ebintu twabigura twabitwara amarwaro kandi twatandika campaign yokuterera eminde ya kitara n'abantu bonna bakusobora kuyirukira abantu bangi bakayirukira emiringo etaliyemu kandi bagenda maiso abagato bakabumba bagenda mu district zone nibaterera abantu balina programs ha radio nibabaliza abantu kubasobora mu ndimi zikwakwana kubasobora kwirinda obulwaire buno twakora announcements radio actually up to now some of these announcements are still running, and even ourselves whenever we attend a function and myself we have to talk about COVID-19, the dangers, and also how people should protect themselves from COVID-19. So obukama because ekibukusobora omusobozi waitu kutwina kuranta abantu tubatererire abantu tubekisa omulingo gw'okwelindamu obulwaire buno obwa corona.
Bwebale muno tubaita kumanya ebintu ebyona kyonka bwebale kubya highlighting Ateenyi kandi mwebale muno emirimu egyo kuyamba abantu baito during this very confusing time. All of us we are challenged, even naito kuno abali hanu naito ebintu bitusobeire, but if you have done quite a lot for people tukusima muno kandi emirimu egyo ogitugambire. Hati, you've given us your achievements that you've done in the Omubukama for the few years you've been there. I just want to tell us the challenges you've been facing as you've been trying to put these achievements in place. You must have had so many challenges, and it would be nice for our viewers to understand these things, and then we can find a way together. Nkabanyoro twinakoragana kwataganiza hamu Bunyoro yaitu tugimuki but tusobola kikola tutamanyire challenges zanye zimu kutunga.
Ego tosakola omulimo gw'obujunaanyizibwa bwingaine hano hatariho ebizibu rundi hatariho challenges kugambira. One of the challenges has been managing change, because as I said, obunyatubira omulimo guno nkateereza obujunaanyizibwa okuteekaho empinduka rundi reform, kuteekaho enkora empyaka. Now it's not been business as usual. Abantu baingi bani expecting ebintu mulingo bikaba nibikorwa rundi kuba bikali nibikorwa baitu ekyo kitali ngokubaine bakinihira. Nabo ekyo managing change has been one of the challenges rundi ekimu habizibwe ekikorwa nti abantu baikirize nti hati ebintu bihindukire tibikyali nkoku byabaire bityo nogamba itu hano uko tukikora ekintu kino kitakiti na kiti nangwa nabo ekyo kibere kizibu baite kite kirungi kiri nti abantu betegereza nti ekintu kukikora no hondera emikore eterekereye loma kitegereza nabo ekyo. That's really has been one of the challenges, but the solution to that is to ensure that whatever we're doing it according to set guidelines and procedures. Ekyakabiri, managing expectations. Abantu baino kunihira kwingi omubukama kukora ebintu bingi muno ebikwakwana kandi ito obusobozi rundi ebiragiro ngokubiri hariho ebintu bingi muno ebitakusobora kukora. Nawe eki abantu n'olwandi basobora kujja nagamba ati kino kibere kisina kiti obukama bugamba ki abaki obukama butakozere kino eirwaro liri mu mbazi obukama bukozereho ki amasomero tigegesa mukozereho ki orugudo rwakicweka nanka turusisikaire mukozereho ki. Nawe n'olwandi ebizibu biri bingi muno kandi abantu baina okunihira nti nibisobora kukorwa kandi obukama bundi tutakubisobora bwa mandate yaitu rundi okusoboza obutumu.
Obundi Omuhikirwa abantu abakibata kumanya ebintu emwina akora, maybe they are not being educated or informed about what you inywe nkabalo omu kingdom ebimwina akora. I know even us here obutuijo mukoko tukarole ebintu bitakora ntugamba baito obukama bukoraki. So what are you doing inywe nkabo iwe nkomuhikirwa waitu ku making sure abantu betegereize what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do, because this is a big challenge.
Nkukitegereza ekyo kingine kikurugira aho habokuba nicyo tukora omwaka guno bukujja tuteka mu namani kurora nti abantu tubegisize biki ebyo bukama bwinakora. Actually to develop a communication policy to guide us on how to communicate our activities, to communicate what we are doing, what we are supposed to do. Na abekyo nkunira antunira tekyo kijja kuterekeza kide ekyo kandi n'orukurato nikyo orukurato runo tukugenda turongera mu amani kurora nti rusobole kuleta ebitekerezo byonna runde bate bikukwataho bitali bimwe bitali bimwe okukama nuko abantu bamgereze kiki kyokama gukora rundi abakuba haruki ebintu bikusa kuija tukabe discussing rundi omu cabinet tukahame kyokora hari bikusobora kuba resolved administratively, hari bikusobora kandi genda mu court. Nabo ekyo it's true twinda kuongera mu amani mulingo tusomesa abantu kubegesa bike by'obukama bwinakora na biki ebinakorwa abantu bandi bitongole bingi.
I think that will help you guys so that you manage expectation. Abantu balebe kubombardinga nebintu tukusanga hati nyonko etegereze nkataka kuloraga ati nkumanyire onda kusanga ndiga Omuhikirwa waitu kande irwaro lya Hoima, irwaro lya Masindi kanda ababulisa bafuladingire. So now we need to know what you can do and what you cannot do.
Yeah, ekyo kugambire kirekimu habigendera byayite mu mwaka guno kurora nti tuongere kusomesa abantu bike bitukora na biki ebitu ebukama bujunanzuro bukama. Ekyakasatu niyo challenge ya budget. Onkato ku mwaka guhoire budget yateka 10 billion baitu esente zino zona tusobole kuzitunga. Esente twatungireho zikaba bilioni 5 zarugire government support. Na wekyo n'olurante ebintu ebingi tubikozere kandi ekyo hata omwaka guno tukulenga okurola nti obukama butungire entahya kwongera entahya supporting a budget yetu bukuba bintu bingi bitukora nka administration natural resources egeno maiso kuhandix kukora land register asset register yaitu kurora itaka iyo kama bwone twina kurora ohakulikozesa likozesebwaki tusobole abakulikozesa basobole kubande batunga ni haba entahya ombukama abeki nayo ebaire challenge challenge ya kane tubainayo niyo yekibira kya Bugoma mwikare ni muhura muno ebigambo bingi muno bikubazibwa akibira kya Bugoma ekibiri ni bigambo anti obukama bukatunde kibira kandi kuno kitekyo ngoza kukisoboraho mukasumika taito umwaka wa 2016 obukama bukalizinga yabo mukyoka kangwali iriri haihi na Bugoma forest hati jobo njomo office mwaka wa 2018 nkasanga haro musango National Forest Authority enyegeriro bukama nto bukama butwaire itaka eritali ya itaka eriyo ya National Forest Authority omusango go twabutongana habukuba itaka eriyo lirimu habintu ebyagaruriro bukama itaka lya Kyangwali li referred to on list yet restricted properties nka Kyangwali ancestral land kyonka niliherera Bugoma forest hati omusango gwaikaire muno gwaikaire mu kuoti ni tutongana na NFA eventually obukama bwasinga omusango nti itaka lyokama kotie cyo muntu itaka eryo actually lyokama kandi kaba kintu kikuru muno tukabantu rwanira abokuba ebintu bingi muno ebyo bukama ebyatwairwe ebitakagarurwaga nabeke kyabaire kyamazire kuwa kyonka itaka eryo obukama bukaba releasingire in 2016 to Hoima Sugar kuli mambo kaiju nabeke abantu haba kubemurugunya kwingi kurugomba abantu baingi kurugomba bitongole bya environment nakini bemurugunya nto bukama butungire ikibira ego kandi hatisho kubukama kandi nkanyowe nka Omuhikirwa prime minister kibaire kizibu kyamani muno hali nyobo kuba kwikara nindenga okusobora abantu baita abantu bazoka batakukitegereza
ego
tukatandika kuhanura na government twagenda mu parliament twaitretirana na committee on natural resources twagenda wa minister wa water and environment ntubaze ikintu kino kuroro muligo tukusobora kuterekereza abukuba okumbagambira itaka liri hayi nekibira ikyachirwemu minister wa water and environment yatugamba government echwiremu eije kuchwa kuroro mutano gugwenyine hali guli kurora nti obukama tibutahirire kibira itaka yekibira nabakyo ito obukama bujunazibwa bwaitu kurolera ebibira ebibira bino byona bikalekwaho abayisenkuru itwe bikalekwaho obukama emiti ekiro bwingi imukura gonzo kutambuze zikiro bwingi hano emiti egikabyarwa abakama nabakyo itu twino bujunazibwa kurora nti ebibira bino bikairo nabakyo kitwina kigenderwa kiona ekyo kutunde kibira rundi kutunda Bugoma baitu ekikuru nti itaka eryo erya lizingirwe Hoima Sugar liri haihi nekibira kya Bugoma nabwekyo hali nkwaliza hano ewiki ibire zoire cabinet ekachwamu yatesindika team cabinet ya government ya Uganda esindika team eije rabe mukurora nti hasobire kwetegerezebwa halo mutano guguli ubwo ikibira nitaka lya yitu ile ukamba Bunyoro kitara kionka team ege tatandike mini mege abukane ho haberiroho naka riots nabeke muri mugo gwa gutaka tandiki nabeke kinike kintu kikuru muno kurora kuchwa kurora ndi where is the boundary between Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom land and the forest. But Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom land did not sell any forest ekinyereze kiranule baitu kungambire kibaire kimu habizibu ebintu ebizibu ebikairo habukuba nyonka kisanga okuruga nje mu office kandi kikaire nkibaziba tutunzire kandi kuna itaka
nitutunga nebisani ebikwolekya nti bitunzirwe
bati kituna kwetegereza nti eitaka lyo buli kala litakozesebwa emiti ekula ebiti bino bikagenda mu kooti yagenda yarambura aba judges bagenda barambura ikikale kyo bakirora
bati kandi emiti endi ekatemebwa niki abantu bagamba mbu bagitunzira abo kwa bakulola emiti bagitemere oba ebisani nibye bitali right baitu kulola emiti bagitemere ate obo kulola ekisani omuti bagutemere no manye kibira kyagoma bakitemere bakibyaramu ebikaiji
ekingamba Ateenyi kirinti eitaka liri haihi nekibira ekintu ekikuru muno nikyo kuchwamu eitaka ebyobukama likangira nkaha
nerya
kutandikira nkaha kandi kingoza kusobora abantu bona kirinti cabinet ya government ekachwamu nti eje etweke team ku ministry ya water and environment and ministry ya lands baije bachwemu omutano buhali guli eitaka ebyobukama nekibira kandi kugumbya ntekyo bukirachiwamu ekizibe kitu kya kuba hakiri tukimaniki nawe cyo kibaire kizibe kibairo kukumweka ni muhuwore bwa mu bazuba bingi bityo nakyo kibaire kimuhabizibe tubaye nakyo ekizibe kindi kitubaye nakyo nikyo kya historical injustices ko kumumanyire kuruga omwaka gwa 1994 kabalega abajungwa tankire kujja muno nataka kurwanisa kabalega ukama kabalega buri mu bwatandikire omwaka gwa 1989 kabalega yakwatwa emyaka egiyone yahondeiro abanyoro bakabonabona muno abandi bakaitwa ente zaitwa entahya yone yawaho bataina na kintu kiona cyokozesa abandi bayiruka abandi bakairuka bagenda lango n'ebyo kabindi baitu kandi itaka lyabo erindi yatwara mu kumanya amasaza kaga buyagana bwangaizi agatwaye hata amasaza go bwagaruirwe itaka lyasigara n'abantu abakwita aba state landlords aba Buganda n'abaki abantu baitu bali haitaka baitu itaka itali yabo ego tibaina byapa tibaina any security for that land n'abakyo those injustices have not been adequately
managed
addressed kimu habizibu abantu kitu kikora nikibaruma nabeke na kitu nakurora omulingo gwo addressinga tuikaire ntubaza na government hale bintu ebyo kandi nkugumya nti mpora tujagenda ntujangura
webale mno wairo no kena challenges ezindo Omuhikirwa banyenda tugenda kuwumura obo kwenda zimaliriza
waitu tugenda tuhumule
kale webale munateenyo Omuhikirwa why to continue with the challenges you're facing in the office.
Yes, there are now emerging challenges resulting from the oil and gas development. Ebizibu binu biziroho habakuba abantu bakuba na high expectations. Omuntu buhura oil and gas otekereza ensi ezikurakura iri muno habwa oil and gas nka Saudi Arabia na mahanga ganda gabaharamu kaga baitu so abantu baino kunihira kwingi muno ebikuja kuruga mu
mafuta
baitu tibaina kibakurure kiriyaho
kirugireyo
nabekyo icyo kizibu cyamani kandi yito kukama tunakora nimba tukira tukaba iki tukutunga muki nabekyo kulengaho kurora tukuhanura na government na bakwatu waho tule umuningo habukuba hatinke mirimo arohe mirimo ekuberiyo bakubane bakora some of these developments baite mirimo bundi habamu abantu abatali babonyoro
no bakuleta kusoma petroleum tibabudi abanyoro tibakubamu
mbaireke ni ndora list y'abana bagenda mu Petroleum Institute Kigumba eturukire abana 25 harimo umwana omwenko wa Masindi akuruga Masindi abandi bona barugira mu cyoka bindi nabakenora ebitebe nibi abantu nibasaliza services kuhereza ebyo kulya naki abantu abakora hano nosanga companies zikurwa hero nabekyo ezo nazo challenges ziroho ezitwina kuba address nikindi likeke abasigazi emyaka 27 bukama bukabuyihirweho abana benye bakazaba batamanyire bukama nabwekyo bujunaziba bwaitu kulwa nti abaana bantu tubegeseze obukama kiki kubegesa culture yaitu kubegesa ebyone bikwatagana kwa nabwekyo kintu kikuru muno bati ekirungi tuikaire tubaza na partners bayingi ko kugambire MTN ikirize kutoa support kurora nti supportingire emizano tukunira mu supporting emizano eno tujja kuba tusikiriza abana baleta kungera kutegereza no appreciating okukama kandi tuli no mu kuhanura na total ENP ikitongole ekyo ikikora ikikutunanizwa hano ya magita kurora nabo batukunyire kutekaho nka cultural festivals halabana bakubani ba participatinga kandi ngugumya nti ikindi kinakyo kijja kuba nikiongerera mu abana abasigazi kuba nibongera kwetegereza okukama kandi okututereza maybe kyakusemerera icyo kya tourism kumanyire Bunyoro ina a huge tourism
yes
potential era ta
kandi tukugamba habwake bintu ebyo bitakolesebwa Bunyoro tuina action falls tuikala ntukizina hanu tuina Kinyara tuina Lake Albert tuina bintu vingi baitu tutukurora mu kintu kitukwihamu
ego nabwekyo nikyo tukugamba nti ito nkokukama administration yaitu one of our objectives current developing the tourism potential abakwa kugumiza kimu ito tuna okukiriza tourism will create more opportunities for Bunyoro. True. Even more than oil because hare bintu bitakuja kwihaho nka Rift Valley gigonzo kozere kitoligi how that one will remain there for years and years and is a huge tourist potential tourism potential abekyo tukunihira nti the future of Bunyoro Kitara kingdom is really in tourism nabekyo people in the diaspora investors we want you to take interest itwe we are developing strategic tourism where we shall be inviting actors in tourism to come here and support us in promoting tourism in this area but really that is a challenge which we also need to tackle.
Yes, Omuhikirwa takagenzere hakuhumura nkwenda just one an input. I don't know whether it's a question from me then tujja kuba ntugaruka na vice wange na Smith Kaguzo ebibantu bakwenda baitu obalize ha challenge ya ba youth kando mu cabinet ya Bunyoro Kitara totugambira cabinet yo na ministry yona ya ba youth. Don't you think iwe Omuhikirwa wa Bunyoro Kitara kingdom these youth need a ministry under your cabinet?
Structure yaitu tuina position egyo ya youth. It was not given a ministry for the beginning because otukamata setting up cabinet ekaba enda kubanta ito for the beginning.
Okay.
But there's a possibility nti cabinet kusobora kongerwaho depending on the needs but tukatiteire structure administration. Okay. Where we're going to recruit somebody in charge of youth under education ministry, social services, education and health. Where that youth portfolio is catered for. So by to we've been getting so many concerns about that and advice. I think we shall take it up and it can be considered to have it either as a full ministerial position or to strengthen the position of the secretariat.
Webale muno Omuhikirwa waitu wa Bunyoro Kitara kingdom wekitinisa Andrew Byakutaga Ateenyi nitugenda mu commercial break nitujja kuba ntugaruka hanyuma ya commercial break kandi Omuhikirwa waitu ajja kuba na continuinga na tugambira more about governance in Bunyoro Kitara kingdom. Mutyo muno abanyoro na abanyoro kati na ba friends of Bunyoro. See you after the commercial break.
Angiriza Sima buwagiha Musangi webale Angiriza kutamba Angiriza Omukama wa Bunyoro Angiriza kutamba Angiriza Kila wasanja Angiriza kutamba Angiriza Omukama wa Bunyoro Angiriza kutamba Angiriza Angiriza kutamba Angiriza mwebingwa Angiriza ntalo ya Bunyoro kitara Angiriza wamala Goma Studios Producer 2K Rama P Amarisa mwebale Yawansemereire n'abawoyima mwebale Yawansemereire b'amasindi mwebale Yawansemereire bakibala balombi Yawansemereire banyeta byabagambi Ndi musajja mutenga Nzaalwa ya Bujenje Musajja wa Kabumba Otansemereire Otansemereire Angiriza kutamba Angiriza kutamba Angiriza kutamba
Nimuhuliriza eiraka lya Bunyoro okuruga mu Diaspora on TGM Radio.
Hello, welcome back. Mwebaleyo abanyoro n'abanyoro kati commercial break. Again, this is Iraka lya Bunyoro Diaspora, sponsored by Bunyoro Kitara Development Association. Hati ni kugenda hapati yokusoma some of the questions that our viewers and or the audience been putting or writing down in the chat. Ningenda kusaba mutahi wange, my colleague, vice chair wa Bunyoro Kitara Development Association, Omukuru Arali Kitone, asome questions ezo tusobole kuba Omuhikirwa waitu asobole kuzigarukamo barabana asobola nkobumbagambirege. This is an introduction part, and so the Omuhikirwa might not be able to cover everything in this section or today because it is just few hours. So naija obutraba tumusabire kurungi aikirize tukunihira ajja kubagana agaruka to address some of the questions that may not be addressed today. Otyo muno Arali, please somera Omuhikirwa waitu questions zinu arabana asobora zigarukeme zatakusobora ajja kuzigarukamu at his own time by going back in the chat and responding to them.
Thank you very much, our fantastic hosts and our special guest today, Omuhikirwa of Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom. Thank you very much for coming to the show. Yes, you'll be pleased today. As we say today, it's a very special show. We've got Omtalindwa Isaac Kalemba, who is the Speaker of the Orukurato, or the Parliament. He's online and he's been very, very active answering questions. So most of the questions have been answered. And also there is Owekitinisa Robert Owegonza. He's as well doing his work. So Omuhikirwa, you can see that you have a fantastic team with a support mechanism that already they're answering questions where your viewers are asking. I'll go through these a couple of questions here. Briefly, people are asking, could they have a TV station, a local TV in Bunyoro? Diana Kemirembe in the USA, she's asking, are you going to attend the UK, the Bunyoro Kitara convention organized in the USA as the first ever convention that has ever organized outside of Bunyoro. That is her question. And Judith Bigirwa, our active member here in the UK, she's asking, has the Umugo got, has she got an office, an independent office? And Diana Keminem again, where do we find the contact of the Ministry for Diaspora and the rest of the individuals or your colleagues you mentioned? Godwin Magezi question, how do we, or how do you, the kingdom, collaborate with the government? And then furthermore is asking, given your leadership, how are they preparing themselves with the upcoming general election in Uganda? There is a question here about the artifacts of Bunyoro in the UK. That's a question by Daisy Biaruhanga. What is there any update? What's happening with that? And then when are we getting a university in Bunyoro? And confiscated properties of Bunyoro in the previous regions or territories that belong to Bunyoro, is there any hope? Lillian Musana, she's asking about the land grabbing, youth representation within your structure, which you touched on, and then mental health. So, and then the last one is our youth coordinator in the UK, Akika Tugume. He's requesting to have sessions of land asset registration such that people can know how they can register their land and land and assets of the kingdom such that people can know. Those are some of the questions, and people are asking that they need to have this show shown regularly with hosting you with your colleagues. However, this is our last show as our first season. We are seeking for partnership. We are seeking for sponsorship. Without your support, without your push financially, this show will not be back next year. So we are calling upon to all stakeholders and all organizations to come and support us. Voice of Bunyoro. Thank you.
Otyo muno Omuhikirwa wa Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom okusobola kugarukamu ebikaguzo boraba oli ready, and thereafter we will proceed with our set questions or a set discussion.
Webale muno Ateenyi omuteekaniza wa programu eno muza kusima rali kitone kukonyeraho ngoza kusima Mutalindwa semerero kumanya ntinaiwe oliyo ku behind the curtains otimiso agonza kusima abahuriza inywena abahuririze programu eno kubasima muno okutekaho omutima kana bugonza okama abo Bunyoro Kitara obugonza insi yaitu ya Bunyoro kugumya nti oturagendera aho kwatanza tuti ebintu bingi tusobora kuterekereza. TV station kino kirikimo habigenderwa byaitu omwaka guno kandi already we've tasked our Minister for Special Duties to take up this matter. There is a partner we are looking at. We started already initiated discussions, and very, very soon we are appointing a consultant to do a study with what the partner has. Tulolo mulingo tukusobora kuataniza kutandika TV kandi kunihira kino utra kurugire bitaba birugire mu report ya consultant rajya kuba twayire kija kutuolekya mulingo tukujja kuba tugenda kuataniza baitu Kirungi nti partner onwe ayihaireyo kurura nti watanizi hamu nokukama Bunyoro Kitara kukoragana hamu kukora TV eno nabake nyino kunihira nti ekintu kya TV kintu kusobora kuba ntukimaliriza mu kasoma katali ka hafi nabwekyo muza kubagumya abatuulirize n'abali abakutulola hati saa zino nti tukiteremu amaani nabwe tumanyire kimu nti kubona TV buli gumu mulingo ogutukusa kuba ntujja kukola ekyaga abantu bamukama ba Bunyoro kitala bike bigenda mu maiso mu Bunyoro kandi bike bigenda mu maiso mu Bukama. Harakagwize if I'm going to attend the Bunyoro Kitala convention in the US. We have been having a budgeting process. Actually, the committee, we have a cabinet committee on finance, investment and administration, which looks at the budget proposals, and they have been considering that. They've just concluded today. Next weekend, the cabinet will be sitting to look at those proposals, and then we present them to the court of the other weekend. So we have budgeted for that. If it is passed, I'm sure we shall be very glad to participate. But I know that Otinsa Katahuire, our minister in charge of diaspora, has been coordinating this activity, doing a mobilization together with the team in the US. So we've been in contact, but attending, of course, requires budgetary provisions. So katule ababirugire budget waba esoboire tujja kuba naimwe convention in. Yes, Omugo's office. Omugo has an office. She has also just registered the Omugo Foundation. She's been carrying out activities. Last year, 2019, she organized the Omugo netball tournament. Female cover, I think, hygiene for girls and women, which took place throughout all the districts of Bunyoro, and that activity was mainly to sensitize young women and girls on hygiene, and also how to make sanitary requirements for ladies using local materials. So she's been very active right now. She's a study which her office has been carrying out to see how to support abana baisiki na boja bato kubegesa engeso zaitu. So really she has an office, and she's carrying out those activities. Of course, we work together with the office of the Prime Minister. Contacts for the ministries. Yes, I have an officer in my office here who is in charge of communication. He's right here. He's also listening from about the contacts. The contacts should be on our website. Our website is being developed, has been taken a bit of time developing it, but I'm sure those contacts are either there or should be there. But he has is here listening. I'm sure by tomorrow all the contacts for the ministers and the ministers, the respective ministries, will be available on our website. Collaborating with government, we have a very good working relationship with government, and I'm really very appreciate Dr. Saija and Dr. Soman Gafao Saiguru, who laid this foundation. We have a very good working relationship, and because our role is really mainly advocacy, we carry out advocacy, but I can assure you that we listen to, as a kingdom, whenever there are issues which require government's intervention. Kiba kyangu muno kubaza na responsible people in government. So really, I'm not complaining about our relationship with government, and we have a very good working relationship. As far as general elections are concerned, the kingdom, we are political. And according to the law, we are not supposed to participate in elective partisan politics. However, the king has a role to advise people, first of all, to go out and vote, to exercise their right, as citizens of Uganda, and also to vote for people who are going to serve them, so to advise people that to vote for people who have our interests at heart. So I think that role we play very well. We've been advising people bakoma abantu abagenda kutulwanira nkaitu nka Bunyoro kurora nti ebizibu byaitu bikire abakujunanzibwa mu gavumenti kandi bikozerweho nabekyo awutari omusango gwonna baitu kandi hati nkanyombere ninyenda kwesimbaho mu politics nyina kubanza ninduga nka obwakatikiro nisaba kabumba anyikirize ngende hanyuma nibo ningenda ni participatinga mu elections, but yes, as leaders of the kingdom we have a responsibility to guide our people, first of all to be responsible in participating in these elections, to avoid violence and to do the right things. So yeah, we do participate at that level, but you will not see me going to say you elect so and so or support so and so. No, that one we do not do, because the law does not allow us to do that.
True.
Artifacts in UK, yeah, we've been following up this, and the last time, of course, we approached the UK embassy in Uganda, the UK High Commission. In Uganda, the High Commissioner told us those artifacts are in private museums in the UK, and it's not a responsibility of the UK government. So we have to take it up with those private museums to see how our artifacts rundi bikwatu byaitu ebyo byatwairwe ebyanyagirwe ebindi bikanyagwa ebindi bikatwara ebindi bikayirwa baitu tujja kuba ntongera kukibondera kurora nti ebintu ebyo bigaruyirwe. When are we getting a university? Yes, this is our concern nkukama nti Bunyoro ekichoka kino rundo bukamba wetu wa Bunyoro niyo region yonkete na public university. All the other regions have, and also we know that a public university is the only thing which will really improve our education in this area. Bukoba private universities are very costly, and abantu baitu tebakabaire kwika halevegi kwa affording private university education. So we've been talking to government. Personally, I've discussed with the president about this matter of establishing the public university in Bunyoro, and the talks are still going on, but it's very important. If you don't know, according to statistics of 2014, only 0.8% of post-secondary education people, only 0.8% have a university degree of the population in Bunyoro. So that's a very, very low figure. Kandi. So we need a university here so that our children can go to affordable universities. It will be close, not involve traveling long distances and possibly accommodation expenses. Nabekyo ito tukiteremu munamani nkokama kandi tukunira nti government ejachuliriza esobole kutandika public university mu Bunyoro. Ebintu ebyabaire confiscated omubikaro ebindi ebya twaire runda amasaza ga twairwe gatagarubirwe nuko gamba obukama obugarubirweho ito responsibility yaitu eri ebikaro ebiro mubukama muno ebichweke biro mubukama muno ebichweke tutabako tukumanya nti obukama bwa Bunyoro kutarundi Bunyoro kutara kingdom used to extend up to Congo, up to Kenya, up to Karagwe, up to Madi in the north. So really, we're not going to run after all those properties and lands.
It's hard.
It's really hard. For now, the law allows us to operate within the 8 districts of this kingdom, but still, even these 8 districts, we still have properties which used to belong to the kingdom, which have not yet been returned by government. And we are following that up. We've been discussing with various ministries, with the Attorney General of Uganda, even with His Excellency the President himself. So we are certain that we'll make headway in this. Lillian Musana, there was something about land grabbing, which I didn't understand very well. I don't know what the question was about. Maybe you will repeat that question. And also the issue of land asset registration. Because what I said is that the Ministry of Natural Resources of the Bunyoro Kingdom is carrying out an inventory of all the land belonging to Bunyoro Kingdom. And we are creating a land register. We already have a draft of a land register. And this will help us know where our land is, how big, how it is being used, so that we can then manage it properly and get into proper arrangement with the tenants on that land. Meeting regularly, absolutely, I have no problem with this. We can meet and exchange ideas, and also I'll be communicating with my colleagues in the cabinet to see how best we can do this. But I appreciate Voice of Bunyoro for this effort you've done, and I'm sure we shall continue working together to really bring up issues concerning the Bunyoro Kingdom and also concerning the Bunyoro in the diaspora, our friends, and all the stakeholders.
Webale muno Omuhikirwa waitu garuka mu questions of our viewers as babaire some of those that our voice was able to capture, and as you have heard inwe nabalo mu chat ebindi owekitinisa wagonza abigarukiremu no mutalindwa olukurato lwa Bunyoro Kitara nawe alimu alibize akubigarukamu na habwekyo tituija byona kubisoma kandi Omuhikirwa tajja kusobola ku answeringa every single question today. I want to emphasize this is just an introduction part of this show and of this topic, and he has already agreed that he will be returning to discuss with us further. Hati Omuhikirwa waitu, this year we did not have Empango, and Empango is one of our prominent event that we the Bunyoros find pride in, and that is when all our people from Karagwe, from Lango, everywhere that are those who know they are associated to Bunyoro come down to celebrate this day. We didn't have it. So what are plans? What plans do you have for the next year in case the same thing continues?
We're going to take another program Ateenyi for that question. Yes, Empango is, as I said, a major cultural event. We come away to Bunyoro Kitara. That's the time we celebrate our culture. Actually, we celebrate peaceful handover of power. You know, what happens at Empango is the enactment of actually what happened at Sita over Haireyo Engoma Bagereza Babito, and it was such a peaceful event, and so we are proud to celebrate that every year. Umwaka guno to umwaka gukwite jakuba Empango yaitu ya abiri na musanju baitu umwaka guno kaba ya abiri na mukaga kandi habwa COVID tutasobole celebrate in the way we normally do. Actually kumbasobolilege kabumba katuragira emikoro egetabaho baitu habe okusima mu cathedral, St. Peter's Cathedral duhaka na bwekyo we are thinking that by February aho niho tukuba tukira kutekaniza emikoro egyo tukunika tulinde turole ikiraba kiro habukwe biragire bikyaroho tibikwikiriza abantu bayingi kugenda kezo cultural activities actually they are not allowed. Abantu bayingi bakukirizibwa kuba ne baba mu kichoka kimu nabikyo katulebe yagira kuraba biri kira tukirizibwa gukora turole nayo cyo kutujja kuba planning abaitu nkugumya kintu kimwe kingugumya umukoro ngono guli baho ebirebyo guli tumaze kukiraniza n'abagenzi bange tujja ku live streaming so that abantu ensi yona balole kiki tukola kuba akasubi akahoire kitakolwe kulungi muno baitu ekinkugumya kijja kubaho baitu nko kungambire tukitekanza baitu kandi kijja kuba nikisigikira ebiragire biraba biroho kurugira no bulwaire buno bwa COVID-19 baitu enteka zijja kubaho kandi mukolo kwa mani tukutamu n'ekitinisa kandi bwolekya kiki obukama bwaitu kibuli.
Amazing. I know you talked about Eminyeto already, but it was something that we needed more elaborate on because you said it's a challenge that you are facing. Hati Eminyeto ya the young people are the pillars of the next generations. How is BKK involving them? Because still people are still questioning or asking that in our chat. And we also wanted you to give us some of your strategies on that. I know you have said you're working on it, but if you could highlight more about it and tell us how currently how they are involved in the kingdom.
Hati ekintu kikuru kiri kwetegereza eminyeto yaitu eminyeto structured in different kind of structure them in different categories. Hariho abana abato abakyatandika kusoma katugamba bali below 18. They have to be catered for and treated in a different way. Hariho abana abakusoma katugamba post primary gunda bali secondary schools. Abo nabo a different category, they have to be treated differently. Then hariho abamazire kusoma abatayine mirimu abo nabo baro. Then hariho abantu abatibasomere bali unemployed bakwekozesa emirimo yabo. So really the categories are many. We need to divide them up, and actually that's what we are doing. One of the things we decided to partner with the Uganda Bureau of Statistics is to enable us to get that proper statistics, and then we come out with a proper strategy. What we know already, one of the strategic initiatives we have is supporting to see how we can support our border bona basigazi. They have lots and lots of challenges.
Yes, true.
How do we support them? Abokuba abakiro bwingi tibamanyire kurungi ebintu byentahya bakora sente baitu ubundi cyari sente zawo nisisikara. Then they have also issues to do with the reproductive health, which they need to understand. Abakiro bwingi baina amaka, how do you support the families? So really ebintu byona tukubikora, but as I said, you need numbers, you need to get the statistics, and to be able to, it's not something we're just going to kwenda kugurukire kintu kwani niko twaitegereze tukokama this administration until we have to be able to understand the issue properly. Where is it coming from, and where is it right now? Where do we want to go? Otherwise, if you just jump, you will not be able to achieve. You should have a plan, and that's why I'm saying now we need proper figures. We get the figures, and then we see how do we deal with each of these sections of the youth. For instance, Mbambire, office yomugo, sangire mbagambire, akrora how ukama can intervene or support abana banu abato, mainly abana like primary children. And that's the research which is being done right now. And then of course we'll look at the next segment and see how also we can get an intervention and all the other segments of this. So it's a planning process, but also we keep doing other interventions. For instance, I've told you to signing an agreement with MTN, who's coming in to support sports. But Jakwanda was supporting the Uganda Cup. Starting January, actually, they will start disbursing these finances for supporting Uganda Cup. Uganda Cup to Corona caters for a certain section of the youth, yes, which we want to develop a talent. Then by Jakwanda was supporting a bicycle race, which will also be the same reason really to mobilize Havana, but also to look for talent. If we identify very good talent, then those talent can be developed, and maybe people can earn from their talent. So there are really a number of interventions. But also, I've told you, we've presented. I was here with the general manager of Total E&P, who came here to pay courtesy call on us. We discussed, and we said Total E&P will support the kingdom in promoting culture through the youth. So there are a number of interventions. However, we need a proper plan at the same time as we're doing these interventions. Also, we are in touch with the National Association for Kitara Students Association. Actually, we have scheduled a meeting with the executive. Nabo Baije, truly how we discuss with them how we can work together to support the youth. But really, there are a number of things we're doing. But the best one, or the main one, is to get proper information and see where intervention is required.
Do you have in your plans of the youth, do you have the plans in the diaspora? Hatinka nyowe nyino mutabani wange nkwenda nawe amanye culture ya Bunyoro gonzala abali wa Buganda bayita, of course, a mother. You want your child to know the culture of your own culture. Aroharali na waina abe n'abandi bayingana ba diaspora bakusupportinga shenu baina ba youth. How are you going to cater for the youth in the diaspora?
Yes, true. Hati ekyokora hari Nyakato na Nyangoma nikyo mukolera. Now while we do this plan here, I'm sure it will also be applicable. We'll find a way to have it applied to the youth in the diaspora, especially in as far as promoting our culture is concerned. Urulimi is very important. Urulimi right to promoting abana kurora omuba to possibly online class, something like that for children. Abana baita bali mu diaspora kwego Bunyoro kwega engeso zaitu enjwara kurora Ateenyi. I'm very impressed with.
Thank you so much.
Na bekyo ebintu ebyo ku promotinga nemiro na history yaitu yonka ya Bunyoro. Na bekyo I'm sure we shall find those linkages to link up with our people in the diaspora to ensure that na abana abali mu diaspora they benefit, and also learn how to about Bunyoro Kingdom and how to promote and preserve our culture.
Kandi nyumba ni nsaba nabo mubateeko mu leadership abakwatu ina hane minyeto yaitu hane ikokia ina magezi abakole bintu nabweke mrani mukora. You're going to create, if you decide to create a ministry, please remember our children in the diaspora, across the diaspora, because they are amazing kids. They have talent, they have brains that they can use. Abandi to the technology to be manire baita ba youth bakubitukiza. So that is my own request. Wewale mno Omuhikirwa waitu kutugaruka mweke kaguzo kieminyeto. It is very important nti abanye eminyeto ya Bunyoro involved in Bunyoro affairs. As the year winds down, 2020 of course, which has been a very difficult year, what is the key message to of our Kabumba? Key message to us, our subjects, Sibe, including us in the diaspora?
Thank you so much. Indeed, amaka gwa abiri kubaire mwaka muzibu mno munsi yona kandi n'obukama nabo bukwasiweho. Omukama Dr. Solomon Gafabu Saiguru mukama Bunyoro Kitara aikaire naterera abazaire kira muno okurolera abana okukuza abana okusomesa abana kintu kikuru muno, kandi akongera kuterera emyenda ya Kitara nywena ali mukali okukuza abana kurungi kutukantu bazanti abana rundi emitento tukimanya nirinde kibira nabekyo omuti omukibira garagukyamiro cyo kumanya iki kibira kijako
Kyamanage.
bakita Kirungi nabo ekyo kiri hamu ha bintu ebikuru muno ebyakabumba ikaire natekaho mu munamaani kuranta atiriri myenda ya kitara tuwena kulera abaana omukasumi kano omwaka guno kubaire abaana bangi baikaire omuka batagenda mu masomero kandi abandi ubundi abazaire batakubarorera kurungi kyarugoma abaana abandi bangi kusisikara twikaire ntuhura abana bangi abasiki batwairenda abana bojo bakusimba mu bandaro mu byaro nabo ekyo ngwenda kongera nyo kuterera kabuma kwetragire kuterera myenda kitara kongera mu amani kulera abana kyakabiri niko kulinda amaka abukuba amaka nigo omusingi gwo kama omusingi gwese ekabwe kuba etaroho kurungi ukama tibwina musingi nawe ekyo kulira amaka kulindangana omumaka abanyoro n'abakazi kulindangana kurungi kandi ekindi kukora n'amaani abukuba busaho omulingo gundi gwona kutukujja geno maiso kutwala enseetu maiso takozere n'amaani nawe ekyo naterere myenda ya kitara itwena tuongere geno maiso tukora n'amaani kulima enjura emyaka eno ebiri hoire enjura tukozere kurungi muno enjura egwire nyingi muno nabo ekyo abantu nkaito kunu mu diaspora yetu mugira Misiri baito kunu tuina kongera mu amaani kuranti tukutekaniza Misiri yaitu kulima ebyokulya ebikujja kubikazaho kandi hatagwenjara kandi hatekizireho kira muno omukasumi kano omwaka guno niko kukolesa byakalimagezi kukora emirimo nyingi rundi online doing things online nabeke naterera emyenda ya kitara itwena tukali kuongeramu amagezi kwetegereza nokwega kozesa ebyoma byakalimagezi nikosa ku computer bukuba tugenda nturanti emyaka ekwija bintu bingi muno bikujja kuba nibikozesebwa computer rundi ebyoma byakalimagezi nabo ekyo terere myenda ya kitara twena hali tukali
yego
tongera amagezi abo kuba nkeira buli rundi mwakubaire muntu ekire ticket kwija hati kuba hari DN beta tukurora iwolo kunyondi hano twasobora kuba hari DN nabo ekyo kintu kikuru muno itwena emyenda ya kitara kwega kolesa ebyoma byakalimagezi kandi kikuru muno kwerinda obulwaire buno bwizire obwa corona nundi covid-19 hano tuweta ekirwaire nyamwita kwerinda muno abantu geno maiso ntondire ebiragiro ebitiriweho government na Ministry of Health kuranti twerinzire obulwaire buno butukwata kandi nainywe abalo mahanga agaheru runda mu diaspora nainywe tubaterera mwongere kwerinda tukurora obulwaire bukweyongera kandi ntubasabira nti obulwaire buno mubwerinde kandi natugamba nti kandi tuteebwa nti obulwaire bwa omunywerero rundi HIV AIDS nabo bukyaroho abantu atomanyire obhaizire corona covid-19 nibo twikaire ntubazaho abantu bakusobora kwebwa nti obulwaire bwa AIDS rundi omunywerero batikiza bukwaho nabo bukyaro nabo tuongere kubwegendereza ndukwerinda.
Amazing. Egyo niyo message Kabumba eyaina to us his subjects and also us, including us in the diaspora. Now, Nkobubaliza Hari diaspora, you kept talking about us. How have you, just this is another question about the diaspora people, how have you mobilized us to develop our homeland or our Bunyoro?
Kusumire cabinet yaitu tuina minister in charge of diaspora. Na wekyo tuina okunihira kwingi muno omubantu baitu abataikara hano naitu abaikara mu bicuka bya hebu mahanga ga hebu na wekyo program egerongo kumbagambire plan yetu kaba disrupted very much by this pandemic from actually March up to around September. We had thought a lot of these things would have been concluded before actually this pandemic broke out. By planning program egyo kwikira abanyoro bona hali bakali nda abantu babanyoro hali bakali omunsi yona nabo ekyo kubasaba kuba bagumisiriza kataito undi kuba tugumisirize baitu program eroho tuina program ekora ati twikirire association zone zikwatana no kama wabanyoro kitara nuko tukunihira tujja kuba twikira hali buli munyoro hali kandi nokora nkaba nimbaza na abagezi bange hana ba IT tukora link. Have you done it? Tukora link yoku kuranti abantu baregisteringire on our website.
Yes.
Twetegereza abantu baitu hali bali na bekyo program ero plan ero kandi nanyo kubasima abakonga mu muroze tukererirwe muhaga baitu banu kabakiro kati batyanije tubasera na bekyo muza kusima Voice of Bunyoro in UK.
Yes.
Kuranti nwe mutalinde gamba mwagamba kamutweserulire mwampikira mwagamba ija na bekyo nsemeriro muno kurora nti yinyo mukoze initiative enu mwatusera gumya n'abandi abakutura hati batalinda baraba ne kibakusobora gukora batalinda gamba katulinde alo kama buli katwikira icyo katubiyame kama buli twimo cyo obulienda cyo kwasima muno Voice of Bunyoro UK for this initiative. And I think really all of us wherever we are it is our responsibility to kozere hekintu tukozere hekintu kura tukwatanize rundi icyo twata kikozere inyo tukonyera tugabo kintu kapta kikozere tukusobora kikora tuti like exactly what you have done now. So I'm really very grateful by to
Abanyoro aba BKD Bunyoro Byakutaga Development Association na leadership yabo nibo batusobeseze kole kintu kino.
Kubasima muno chairperson na team yona kubasima omulimo gumukozera omulimo mulungi muno kututeraniza muti kandi nkugumya nti eno hati ntambikwa tujja kuba ntugede maiso ntukoragana ntukwataniza hamu kandi ntuhinsaniza ebitekerezo kuri omulingo tugenda kuba ntukurakoniza okama bwaitu.
Webale mno Omuhikirwa waitu ni nyenda hati tutakamaliriza abokuba obwire bugenda kuba ni butuleka nkwenda just a little bit of thanking people who have been participating here on the Voice of Bunyoro, because you are about to do the most important thing that we will be asking you to do in just a short time. But before I ask you to do that, I just want to appreciate all the presenters who have been here on the Voice of Bunyoro. Thank you so much for the hard work that you have done to make sure that this show has been happening every week ever since we started down in April. Nitubasima muno inywe na ba presenters kyonka ninja kuba ni mentioninga only a few people have kuba bayingi kyonka nko Omuhikirwa nko bwali hano kwenda na wamanye abantu ababayire hano ha show yaitu ni ba representinga Kingdom asola kuba bayira tabamanyire. So those are the only presenters I'm going to mention, but we thank all the presenters who have put aside their time and research to make the Voice of Bunyoro a success. Ninsima muno owekitinisa Honorable Omutalindwa Olukurato lwa Bunyoro Kitara Kalembe Isaac Akiki abaire naijahanu buli week buli mwezi nasomesa about Kabalega kandi akozere series nyingi abanyoro bayingi basimire bamwegereho ebintu bingi. Ninyengera kusima Honorable Second Deputy Prime Minister Owekitinisa Apollo Ramparo Akiki, who was our first guest from Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom to come here on the Voice of Bunyoro, and he talked about the tourism that we have, and we are very grateful for those two people abekitinisa Bunyoro kurugoko mu kingdom.
Maybe I'll jump in as well and summarize the type of guests we had. We've had the Friends of Bunyoro, and then we've had the Bunyoro members in the UK, and then we had the Bunyoro outside of UK. So those are the groups that we've had. That is USA, we've had Canada, and then we've had in the UK. So Friends of Bunyoro and the Bunyoro themselves. So those are the segments.
Thank you so much, co-president wange, vice chair wa Bunyoro Kitara Development Association, to put those categories across Prime Minister asobole kumanya boha babaire ha Voice of Bunyoro. Nituongera kusima TGM management, engineer waitu Ivan aikaire naba omubyoma kuruga butwatandikire show enu mpaka ekiro kino era ali hano naitwe nawe ntwongera kumusima kandi ntumusaba ahikie okusima kwaitu hali TGM management. Ninyongera kusima aba Bunyoro Kitara Development Association ba members abaitusoboseize obaikirize esho enu ebe etandike omubara lya Bunyoro Kitara Development Association kandi baikaire ni batuyamba muno abairo bamtobaye ni batu advisinga a lot tinja kubaza amabara abo kuba babaire bayingi kyonka bemanyire buli sande ni bantera we bale kinu tusimire muno aba members ba Bunyoro Kitara Development Association kandi ninyongera no kusima the executive of Bunyoro Kitara Development Association, the executive and the current executive that had enabled us to continue doing the Voice of Bunyoro kandi bayongera ni batu sponsoringa nitusima muno kandi nituija kusembyayo abantu abakuru muno. Without them this show would not have been possible. Ba viewers baitu benyenda kweta viewers and listeners kyonka omutalindwa akatugamba tubetege audience ababaire ni batu followinga buli kya sabiti tibabyama abandi 11 nambere bali abandi Uganda zilisaha ina abandi hano bwire bukia bugenzere baitu babaini baija ha show buli Sunday kandi ubundi ni baroni batwijukiza nti wewe today is a show teriyo aba viewers and listeners of Bunyoro Kitara Voice of Bunyoro in the diaspora mwebale muno support tusimire muno kandi katunihire. We have not disappointed you.
And adding on that, the composers of the songs and the material that we've demonstrated or we've showcased here, that is promoting Bunyoro, the videos promoting the tourism, all the sites in Bunyoro. We've had, people have put in a lot of time composing this nice music, which people enjoy a lot, and then they sell Bunyoro across the board because some people call in, they just enjoy the dance. And where is it from? It's from Bunyoro.
Aityo muno host wange bale muno Omunyoro arali na habwekyo abantu bona tubasimire and nkobungambire this Omuhikirwa waitu izrege specifically to do a final close up of this season of Voice of Bunyoro. Na habwekyo ningenda kuba ni musaba kole omulimo ogwo through giving us his last remarks obwara amaliriza naija kuba na officially closing the first season of Voice of Bunyoro. Nitunihira nituija kuba ntugaruka back on air in January, and if we have got sponsorship.
And my last one, being that the president is giving a speech today, a State of Nation address, and the Prime Minister is giving as well a speech today to the Bunyoro people. So it is a very, very special day.
Amen. Nibyebyo ebimbanyenda kusima bonombayinda kusima takarugire hasho white owekitinisa Prime Minister wa Bunyoro Kitara Kingdom mbaire ninsaba na kusemererwa kwingi otuhe closing remarks kandi officially closing the first section first season of Bunyoro Voice of Bunyoro in the diaspora. Otyo muno Ateenyi.
Ngoza kusiima abateekaniza enywena programu eno abali okugonzebwa abakuliriza abeera programu eno enywena ngoza kubasiima emyenda ya kitala enywena ngoza kubasiima abwa programu eno ngoza kusiima muno tiimu egyo ya Bunyoro Kitala Development Association UK abakozera omulimu omukooto muno guti kurora nti programu eno yabaho kandi nanyo nsiima muno kunyeta kuba programu eno really it's not keep forgotten mukozera omulimu gw'amaanyi kusiima muno kandi ningumya nti emirimu y'obukama eno twayihaire okukora itwena tulina kukwataniza hamu hali tukali kandi kurora engonze zimwolekeze kandi n'omutima omulungi ogumwolekeze n'amaani ganyaga muteiremu mukugumiza kimu nti tusobole emirimu eno gikora kutwala maiso obukama bwaitu noza kubasiima muno kandi nimbagumya nti yitwe nk'abebembezi obukama hanu tujja kukora nti tukusobora kurora nti obukama bwaitu tugarukire okuba ntubwenyumirizamu kandi nitutwara omu maiso obuhangira n'obwaitu kitala ekyo tukuba tukikozere tukuba ntuhwerekeera nabekyo basiima muno mulimu guno nimbasaba mugende omu maiso nimukora omulimu guno hali mukali nywena emyenda ya kitala nimbagondeza Christmas enungi nokumara omwaka guno gwa 2022 kugumara kurungi nokutandika omwaka omuhyaka kandi n'ebigambo ebyo kasumi kanu ntusiima Ruhanga habwa programu eno ebaireho kumara kasumi kanu kandi n'ebigambo ebyo ninkingaho session eno eya Voice of Bunyoro kukwika obutulirangana mu January nebaye muno kumpuliriza.
omuno abantu bamukyeo bakerenga